I never believed in the myths that circulated in my village. Until one night, I was trapped in the darkness of the Gunung forest, Yogyakarta, and saw it myself, the rotting black shadow. Our usually peaceful village suddenly became a place full of anxiety after 3 people were found hanging themselves in 1 week. Each person who died was always found with something called Gelu, a round lump of earth said to be found under the corpse. I remembered when my late uncle was found hanging from a big tree behind his house. The village head and some elders quickly came before the body was taken down. They began digging the ground under the corpse, and sure enough, they found 2 Gelu. This is the 3rd time this week, one of the villagers whispered. I felt something was off. Why was Gelu always found at every hanging death? Then, the story about Pulung Gantung began circulating more frequently. They said Pulung Gantung was a sign of death that came like a flash of red light at night, seeking a weak soul to consume. The more I tried to forget the story, the more often I had nightmares. In my dreams, I saw a black figure with decaying skin, blood flowing from its nose and ears. It stood next to the hanging robe, as if waiting for its next victim. That night, I woke up drenched in cold sweat. My heart was pounding. I heard whispers, voices calling my name. Is this just a dream? I thought. But the whispers felt real, so real that they made me tremble with fear. I decided to tell the village head about my dream. He looked surprised, but not entirely shocked. Many people have experienced similar things, he said. Maybe it's a sign. He suggested I join the next Gelu search if another incident occurred. This isn't just a myth, he said. This is how we protect the village from the terror of Pulung Gantung. The next day, news spread that a young man from the village was found hanging from a tree on the outskirts of town. Without thinking, I rushed to the location. The air felt cold, even though the sun was still shining brightly. The villagers gathered, and the elders began digging the ground under the young man's body. My heart pounded as they found 2 Gelu. Some whispered that if Gelu was found, it meant the victim was indeed chosen by Pulung Gantung. But if not, it meant the death was purely suicide without any supernatural involvement. I stood frozen, looking at the hanging corpse. And at that moment, I saw it, the black shadow among the trees. The figure glanced at me, its smile full of decay. I jolted, and suddenly the shadow disappeared. Am I losing my mind? I thought. But I knew what I saw was no mere shadow. It was the keeper of the death rope, the creature that emerged from Pulung Gantung. That night, I couldn't sleep. The nightmare of the black figure haunted me again. In my dream, I was in the middle of a forest where dozens of ropes hung from the large trees. On each rope, a body was hanging, and beneath them, the ground was being dug to find Gelu. I woke up with my heart racing. But this time, there was a determination within me to fight back. I wouldn't let this creature continue to terrorize our village. Along with a few young men from the village, I decided to keep watch in the forest where the young man was found. We brought offerings and prayers from the elders, hoping to banish the black shadow once and for all. As the night grew deeper, suddenly a red light flashed across the sky. Pulung Gantung had arrived. Among the trees, we saw it. The black figure slowly walked towards us with a terrifying smile. But this time, we didn't retreat. We began reciting the prayers with full conviction. Suddenly, the figure stopped and vanished, as if swallowed by the night's darkness. We succeeded, or at least that's what we thought. But is this really the end of the Pulung Gantung terror?